continue the series. Coming up next, we have Bijoy Ramachandran from 100 Hands.
But thank you, Fuad, Shraddha, for inviting me. What an incredible set of presentations, beautiful projects. This is a project which is still in the process of being completed. It's a sort of adaptive reuse project in Bangalore. So there's kind of the cantonment in Bangalore. That's the cricket stadium on the left. Right at the bottom there is MG Road and what used to be called Cavalry Road, which sort of bisects a lot of the old military yards, the parade ground, etc. And the red box on top is where this old school was. It's a kind of, it used to be a Tamil school, which was part of the old Tamil neighborhood in that part of Bangalore next to Alsur Lake. And you can see from the texture, the cantonment, all of these sort of colonial buildings that are up on the top of North Parade, what is Carbon Road now, and then the dense sort of inner city of all of the support, all of the traditional settlements that were supporting these large colonial bungalows. Our office is down there, the small red box, which meant that we were at the site very, very often. And it used to be Cavalry Road, what is now Kamaraj Road, named after, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. So this is predominantly a Tamil neighborhood, or used to be, and Cavalry Road had, buildings that are very similar to the building that we renovated. We think that on the image on the right, just in the foreground on the right side, is a bit of our building in that photograph, given the other landmarks that we can see in that photograph. So some more pictures of Cavalry Road. And this is Rai Bahadur Arcot Narayanaswamy Mudaliar, who is, in a way, the precursor of what Bangalore is really famous for now amongst architects. We have an incredible number of very, very wealthy people who've put private money behind public institution making. So recently, of course, there's been MAP, there's the Science Gallery, there's the BIC, which I was fortunate to work on. But Rai Bahadur Arcot Narayanaswamy Mudaliar was the first of these large-hearted philanthropists. He made a lot of money trading vegetables from Bangalore to Tamil Nadu and bringing spices back, became incredibly wealthy, and then bought out a lot of this Tamil part of that Alsur area. And instead of making a lot more money out of those pieces of land, he set up a trust, the RBNMS Trust, and he started making educational institutions, vocational training centers, orphanages for the Tamil community in this neighborhood. The first Tamil school for women was started by him, and these are all trust lands which, unfortunately or fortunately, the trust can't sell, and so the trust has now started figuring out ways to work with private individuals to make something of these buildings, which otherwise are falling apart and are in quite bad state of disrepair. While we went to the site, we found all of these wonderful artifacts, things from the site, old class photographs set in the backdrop of the building that we were renovating, and certificates, prize distribution photographs, and that's the arcade that we found at the back, portions of it that we found at the back. And so from that lineage of RBNMS, there's Hema and Ravi Chandar, wonderful clients of ours. He was the building committee chairman at the BIC, and then he set up this trust after he sort of stepped down as the director with his wife, and they are now adopting some of these old buildings to make public institutions in the city, an incredible legacy of this kind of patronage. So there's Kamaraj Road and the building as we found it, lots of trees, and these two buildings separated by a small courtyard and a big backyard at the back. And right next to it, along Sangam Road on the right-hand side, was another beautiful building, the Anna Vasanti Library, which is actually an Indian version of the Annie Besant Library. And these three buildings sort of became part of that educational institution that the RBNMS Trust was controlling. We had some incredible architects working with us in the office, and just like Arjun was saying earlier, in fact, this idea that all of the work that we do is collaborative and that one just has to listen and sort of figure out ways in which to negotiate. that meaningful things happen. So one is, of course, these people who happened to be at the office just at the right time, that we were lucky to have them. Sanjana and Amrita, who did these incredible sort of detailed documentation of the existing buildings, documenting all of the damaged rafters, the pieces of the Madras terrace that was missing, all of this incredible sort of documentation, cataloging all of the trees at the site, all of this done completely on their own volition in a way. And then making these drawings that were a document of what we found there on day one, where the brick was exposed, the plaster had sort of fallen away, where the water pipes had sort of made, a patina on the wall, etc. That these drawings in and of themselves are the only remnants sort of this wonderful building that we had found. And then this is the Madras terrace again, just transferring from that pencil sketch and making a diagram which then gives you the quality of the plaster and the Madras terrace up on the top of that first building. So there's the building as we found it with Tata Murugan is the person who was living there for the 10 years that the school had been shut, living there in the middle of sort of pouring rains coming right through the roof, etc., just braving the way through. And you can also see from the facade that a lot of the windows had been blocked off, masonry, etc., filling in, and all of the plaster, of course, in pretty bad shape. And the building just sort of slowly decaying and falling away, before Ravi and Hema came and very generously offered to restore it. So this is what we found. And then the insides of the buildings were completely, portioned off with both carpentry partitions, but also masonry partitions so that there would be classrooms, etc., dividing up the space. And so when you first went there, you didn't get a sense of how big and glorious these rooms were because they were completely covered up with these temporary partitions. So that's the bigger hall with the pitch roof where the roof had all but collapsed. And yeah, in an incredibly bad sort of shape. So there's the backyard with the big veranda. And so we were very, very fortunate to work with an incredible contractor and his team, Nilesh Thakkar and a gang of incredible masons and carpenters. So we remade some portions of that Madras terrace. Of course, all of this is done without us really being involved. It was also a project where we had to figure out a way to actually step away from getting in the way of these wonderful carpenters and masons and just allowing them to do what they did best and sort of really bringing back this building from the state that was in. So redid all of the waterproofing, removed all of the cement that was put on there for years and recreated the old Surki waterproofing. And it's all pretty traditional sort of techniques that Nilesh and team did. This was an incredible exercise in one of the buildings where the Madras terrace was, where the main primary beams were removed because they were all sagging and some of them had already cracked, without disturbing the original Madras terrace, slipping these beams out and putting in the new beams, replacing these old structural beams. Quite incredible sort of effort. Then we remade some of those pilasters to hold up that roof. There's an amazing image of this process where the whole roof has been held up by these jacks, and they've removed the base of the column to replace the old wooden base with a stone base. It's quite incredible. So the whole thing done in a very, very sort of systematic and careful way so that the pieces that were still, which still had integrity were not disturbed, and then only those places where there was weakness, that then was addressed in a very clinical sort of way. The other building, the second building, had a pitched roof, and so there also, recreating the old truss. It's a combination truss. There's a lot of metal in the original roof, which we salvaged. So there's a metal truss and this new timber sort of rafters and beams, and then, cement sheets, some kind of rain protection sheet, and then the regular purlins and Mangalore tiles above. But, not really creating anything new, but just sort of redoing what had fallen away. Oh. Yeah, that an internal error had occurred, and we were addressing it. So that's the existing plan that we sort of found. So you can see that, all of the red stuff that you see is stuff that we removed. So we removed portions of the wall to recreate connections out with windows. We removed all of the internal partitions, some of the external buildings. And then we created this new plan, which basically just opened out these two rooms with almost no partitions at all, so that you got to see what incredible spaces these were. And we added a new cafe and some toilets and utilities down at the bottom, creating a very sort of formal garden at the back with this interstitial courtyard in the middle. So that's the front building, the Madras terrace building, a courtyard in the middle, the pitched roof combination truss building, and then the garden with the cafe at the back. So some photographs of that, and I'll rush through it. Yeah, I'm already out of time. So here's the building now. Everything sort of with a new floor. Everything that we ripped out for the floor with the kadappa, etc., was all reused in the building. Any of the timber that we salvaged from the ceiling was reused for the additional roofs of the cafe. And so it's really pretty much all of the material going back into the same project. This is that garden now with an opening to the street. And all of those big stone pillars also salvaged from the building itself and used in the flooring. This is the courtyard at the back. It's gone again. Yeah. Yeah, some more pictures of the old. So this is all the cafe which we added to. And this is the main hall now. It's started, we've had events there as part of the Bangalore Hubba just recently. Yeah, that's in the evening. Also just want to mention, so that's Sanjana there and Amrita, the two girls who ran the project really, and now Ganga and Ria also. But the project was run by 4 women, by Sanjana, by Amrita, and by Prajakta, who's in the second image. She was the main contractor's assistant, the site engineer. That really, they drove this project. We also had a wonderful carpenter, Shaju and Shiva, who did the main truss building. And we had the wonderful assistance or the guidance of Professor Vasauda and Shomithro and Tony. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Bijoy.